It is time to check on all of these cuties. What I'm gonna do right now is just make sure they have plenty of food and water for the night. They don't typically eat and drink too much at nighttime, so you don't have to worry about it being full. It does look like they've got a good amount of water. This will last them for the night, and then I'll come out here tomorrow morning like I usually do, and I'll give them more. It's so hard not to check for eggs. I just want to check the sticks and the nugget bucket, which, all right, we'll do real quick. Okay, no, there's no eggs there. Anyway, I get a lot of people asking, do they have names? How do I tell them apart if they do have names? And yes, every single one of these cuties have names. How do I tell them all apart? That is a great question, and the answer is I don't. I am only able to tell a select few apart, guys, and that's just because some of them, like Arlo and Libby, are much smaller than the others because they're much younger, so I can tell them pretty easily. And then some others might have defining features, like defining designs on their feathers that let me know exactly who they are. For example, Snow right there is the only girl who is almost all white. Hi, Snow. Her full name is Snow White, but we call her Snow for short. This is my girl, Rose. Rose has been with me since the very beginning. She was in my very first 8. Rose was my first blue egg layer. She has some brown in her, but she's mostly gray. And she was my only gray one for the longest time. Now I have one more gray girl and she's in here somewhere. Of course, we have Nugget, and she's the easiest to tell apart because of her splayed leg. No, her leg is not broken, as a lot of people think. Nugget is actually a part of our newest batch. I just adopted her. She's a little over a year old now. I adopted her along with 7 other quail from a friend, and she was adopted in this past August. I forgot to mention, I named Rose Rose because when she was a chick, the red light from the heat lamp when she was in the brooder made her gray feathers look kind of like a rose. So that's why I named her that. Nugget was actually named by a viewer. I got a comment one day when I first adopted them and I needed names for them, and I said, what should we name her? And one of the suggestions was Nugget. I cannot remember who suggested it. It was the only person that suggested Nugget, and I just thought it was the cutest thing ever, so Nugget it was. This right here is Daisy. Daisy is one of my only yellow female besides Arlo, so it's pretty easy to tell her apart. Hi, Daisy. Now, the yellow one right there eating is Donald. Donald has a darker brown face, and he's one of the largest of the yellow male that I have in here. I can always tell if it's Donald for sure when I put the dirt buckets in here because he is the very first one to go over to the dirt bucket and kick all that dirt everywhere. And here comes Daisy again. Arlo is all the way in the hutch right now. Hi, Arlo. Arlo's gotten so big but is still smaller than the others, so she's pretty easy to tell apart. Thank you, ladies!